Millwood is with us, going to dust off a little diamond dust here. And there's been some trades between these ball clubs down through the years. There's been some good ones, and there's been some not so good ones.
Well, Johnny, the best trades, of course, are the ones that benefit both teams, and it doesn't always work out quite that way, using, of course, time as a gauge. Sometimes years later, you find one team has benefited greatly and the other team has been left holding the bag. There's a new book came out this spring called Traded, Inside the Most Lopsided Trades in Baseball History, by Doug Decatur. Now, it uses the sabermetric theory of win shares. That is, every win has 3 win shares, and you can assign them to various players. That is, a 100-win season would be 300 win shares. You would be divided up against the players on the roster. So using the win share theory, this guy has ranked the 306 worst trades in baseball history. Now, number 306 involves these franchises: the Orioles trading Dennis Martinez to the Montreal Expos for Rene Gonzalez. Now, that trade worked out well for the Expos, didn't work out so great for the Orioles. Gonzalez, a utility infielder. Now, deals between a real Washington team and the Orioles, the most lopsided was one that involved a player who never actually played in an Orioles uniform, Roy Sievers, the 1949 Rookie of the Year with the St. Louis Browns. Right after the ball club moved to Baltimore, Sievers was thought to not be able to throw. He'd had shoulder surgery, despite the fact he'd hit for power. The Orioles traded him to Washington in February of '54 for an outfielder named Gil Cohn. Gil Cohn was a speedy outfielder. He had twice hit over 300 in the major leagues, but had backed that up with a 202 season and a 196 season, and was traded to Baltimore. Well, Sievers came to town, and over 6 seasons averaged 30 home runs a year, hit 180 home runs in a Washington uniform. Cohn played decently for the Orioles as a part-time outfielder, but was out of baseball by 1956. Now, in terms of win shares, Roy Sievers meant 196 win shares to Washington, or roughly 65 additional wins.
How about that? Is he in the book, by chance?
He probably is, but the worst trade in baseball history involved the Orioles and the Houston Astros back in '91, when Houston traded Glenn Davis to Baltimore for Pete Harnisch, Curt Schilling, and Steve Finley. A trade that meant an additional 203 wins to the Houston Astros.
Hey, you were telling us the other day about you got word when you were with the Orioles, when you met the new manager. Hello, it was Raleigh Heeman, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
You're gone to something?
Yeah, get spring training, walk in, and never met him. He says, "Hello, Ray, I'm Roland Heeman. You've been traded to Detroit." Not a good feeling.
Not a good feeling at all.
Well, somebody wanted you, though, right?
Somebody wanted me, heck yeah.
It's a great book. Doug Decatur wrote this thing, Inside the Most Lopsided Trades in Baseball History. Not only the Orioles and the Nationals, but this covers everybody in Major League Baseball.
Everybody in baseball. And a lot of people assume, a lot of Oriole fans assume it must be that Frank Robinson, Milt Pappas trade with the Reds, but that barely even cracks the top 200 because Pappas had a number of productive seasons left.
One thing I want to add about Phil, because after every ball game, Phil is inside that Diamond Club doing your post-game radio show, which is terrific, incidentally, as you leave the ballpark and dial it up.
You'll have to stop by sometime, John. Ray, too.
Well, if the fee is right, we can always.
All I need is an invite.
All right.
We can always work it in. What do you think about these 2 starters today? Millwood against John Lannon.
Well,
Phil?
Millwood's the best pitcher in baseball with an ERA under 3 and 0 wins, clearly. I mean, he's pitched well enough to win, but the Orioles never scoring any runs.
All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, thank you, Phil, very much. This is